11th century Tuscany, where noble pride often clashed with Christian ideals, a young man was transformed by an act of mercy that would change not only his life, but the future of monastic reform in Italy. This is the story of Saint John Gualbert, abbot, and founder of the Vallombrosan Order, a warrior-turned-monk who became a beacon of peace and holiness in a turbulent age. John Gualbert was born around the year 995 into a noble Florentine family. Raised with the ideals of chivalry and honor, he was trained as a soldier, destined for worldly prestige and power, but a personal tragedy would test his faith and reshape his soul. John's only brother was murdered, and as fate would have it, John encountered the killer on a lonely road outside Florence one Good Friday. Sword in hand, vengeance in his heart, he was ready to strike, but then something extraordinary happened. The murderer fell to his knees, arms outstretched like Christ on the cross, and begged for mercy. In that moment, John Gualbert saw not an enemy, but the suffering Christ. He sheathed his sword, and forgave. This radical act of mercy was the beginning of his conversion. Soon after, John entered the Benedictine monastery of San Miniato. There, while praying before the crucifix, the image of Christ miraculously bowed its head, affirming John's decision to abandon the world and serve God, but John's journey had only just begun. While at San Miniato, John became increasingly troubled by the laxity and corruption he witnessed among some monks, particularly the influence of simony, the buying and selling of church offices. Determined to live the rule of Saint Benedict more faithfully, he withdrew into the wilderness of Vallombrosa. There, in the remote forests east of Florence, John Gualbert founded a new community, the Vallombrosan Order, around the year 1036. It was a reformed branch of the Benedictines, committed to poverty, manual labor, liturgical prayer, and moral purity. John insisted on strict observance, detachment from worldly affairs, and a deep interior life. His monks lived in silence and simplicity, cultivating the land, copying manuscripts, and devoting themselves to the divine office. The Vallombrosans would go on to play a key role in the broader Gregorian reform movement, helping to restore holiness and discipline within the Church. John's fearless stance against simony earned him enemies, especially among corrupt clergy, but also the admiration of reformers and the faithful. He once survived a violent attack by opponents, protected, it is said, by divine intervention. He lived to see the growth of his order and the flowering of reform across Italy. After decades of holy leadership, St. John Gualbert died on July 12, 1073, and was canonized by Pope Celestine III in 1193. St. John Gualbert remains a powerful witness to the strength of mercy, the courage of reform, and the beauty of a life wholly given to God.